this computer. All right. So, yeah, let's get started with this review. So let's share. Great. And I haven't done this, just so y'all will see like what my actual process looks like for solving some of these problems and like how I don't know all the syntax. It's not all in my head. I'm gonna have to look stuff up. So yeah, this will be fun. Cool. So when I look here, I'm like, all right, I've got this clone down. I already ran a bundle install and we're looking good there. And then I'm gonna look back at my Atom. I was looking at Rails helper just to like see like what condition this is in, and I can also like look in spec and say like, okay, I don't think I've done that rspec install thing yet. Um, so I think I might do that. Oh, looks like it did get run. So I'm just gonna say no then, and just let it be and see if I screwed anything up there. Okay, cool. We're in good shape then. So I've got my user stories copied to my clipboard, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a features folder and start there. And then what do I want to say this is? I think the first one's like a show spec, so I'll say actors. I'm gonna nest this in this folder, actors, and then show spec.rb. I want to say is maybe first. If I mess that up, that's okay. I can go somewhere else. I just want a file that doesn't look like this. I think the way that I created it was slightly weird. Let's delete that. Okay. Cool. All right, so I've got all of this. I'm going to comment it out. All right, we're creating an application to track movies. We've got studios which have movies, and movies have several actors, and actors can be in several movies. All right, so that sounds like all of my relationships, and I'll put those on new lines so I can just see that better. Cool, studios have a name and location. Okay, so that kind of like tells me what I want to do first. I'm probably just going to start with these model tests here. I just wanted a place to like put my stuff. So yeah, I'm going to grab this and maybe not. Maybe I'll start with the studio index. I kind of like starting with a feature test because it's easier to tell me what to do. So I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna like focus in on this, I think, right now, and then we'll see if that's like a poor path to take or a good path to take. Yeah, so we are in actors. I'm gonna rename this to studios. And yeah, this is index. This should be renamed to index spec, it looks like. Cool. So I'm going to start here with a describe block. And I'm going to say, as a user, when I visit the studio index page, and then that looks like probably good for that. And then I'll say it I see a list of all movie studios and the names of all its movies underneath each studio. That seems good. All right, cool. So the first thing that I'll need to do in this test is visit, it looks like, studios. And then I will need to expect my page dot to have content, and then this would be like, we'll say studio one dot name, or what are these called? Studios have a name and location. See a list of all movie studios and the names of all its movies. Cool. And then I need to say, let's just say we'll have two studios, studio 2.name, and then I might do it within here, but I'm not positive. See a list of all the movie studios underneath each studio, see the name of all its movies. Okay, so then I want to see also, I would expect the page to have like, to have content, and then I want to do a studio 2 dot movies dot each do movie, and then I'll end this, and then it'll be like movie dot name, and then I want the same thing for studio 1. That seems like a decent place. It's like, all right, I'm gonna have two studios. I gotta see the movie names and their yeah. Looks like movies are actually gonna be title, so I can change that. And cool. That seems good to me. So I think I'll just run this and know that I'm gonna run into some errors, right?
Tim, while you're running that, quick question.
Yep.
Would you expect for a better test so like for Studio One to see only the movies for Studio One kind of within a section, or as long as it's on the page, do you consider that a good test?
It, if it's not in the requirements and it's a timed assessment, I'm gonna skip the within part because that's like extra overhead that like it doesn't look like it's asking to me. Like you could make the argument maybe that underneath each studio, I see the names of all its movies. It's like, okay, well, clearly that's going to be like nested under one, but I can like make that happen in my view. Here's what I'll say. The test, it's a better test is the within, right? That's just better. But in the case of like a timed assessment, this is fine.
What would a case where you would want to have that, what would the user story say? Let's say maybe for our like final, what would that look like?
It would be like, and underneath each studio, I see all the names of this movies. This should be tested with a scope of movies showing up in a list nested under each studio, something like that. Right?
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think I forgot to require Rails helper, and that's why I got that first error. Undefined method visit. Cool. PG connection bad. Okay, database. Base new test does not exist. Cool. It sounds like I probably got to create a database. So I'll run a rake db create. Cool. All right. Action controller, no route matches, get studios. Cool, I can probably fix that. Let's say this is gonna be resources, studios only, index, something like that, I think. Cool, uninitialized constant studios controller. Great, I can do that. Actually, I want to do that over here. So I'm going to go into my app, and I like using my mouse or my keyboard to do all this stuff because I know the shortcuts, and it's just easier to me to like nest them in the right places. So what's the name of this one? Studios controller. I'll copy that. Studios controller.rb and class application. Yep. This is going to inherit, and I think that this should give me something like a unknown action maybe. Cool. Couldn't find an index action. All right, I'm going to do a def index, and then I'm also in my views because I know this one's coming. I'm going to say this is going to be in studios, and in there I'm going to create an index.html.erb, and now I hope I start getting like some failure or some undefined like local variables from my test. So let's get that back on the screen. Yeah, I hope that this visit can happen now, right? Like I hope I get past line 12 based on creating the controller, based on creating the view, but we'll see. Right. Undefined method name for nil class, cool, and that's what I get. So I'm going to set this up in a before each do, and now I'm going to set up my values. So I know that at studio 1 is going to be a studio dot create, and then what does studios have? Name and location. Name. I like to be. I mean, I'll give it something that feels like a studio, but I'm trying to like make these on the fly with like the like very short attribute. Like I don't want to think that much about this part of it. So I just want to mention that. Like I don't want to think that much about what I'm naming things and whatever, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And then my location can be LA. Cool. And then I'll do a Command C, Command V, and then this one will be HBO. And the location can stay LA. Doesn't need to be different. And cool, I've got those now. Let's see what this can give me. Uninitialized constant studio. All right, cool. So let's do models. Actually, it's going to be over here. Where are they? Models up here. And yeah, this will be studio.rb, I want to say. And then class studio inherits from application record. And let's see what we get now. Cool. Studios does not exist. Relation studios does not exist. Undefined table. Cool. So now I need to like create that table. So I can do that.
Hey, Tim, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I was just curious that so now that you've created a model, at what point do you start the model test? Because I'd prefer to do it the way you're doing it as well, but I'm always conflicted about now I should stop and do a model test.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of like I want to say developer preference more than anything. For me, it makes more sense to stay on the test I'm doing and like just continue until I get that feature test to pass. And then any models that I needed for that feature test to pass, I'm gonna go test like right after I do that feature test.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So I want to generate a migration called Create Studios, and it's gonna be I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but I think it needs a name, which is gonna be a string. Location, which is gonna be a string, and I don't totally remember if this is the right way, but I know once this migration file is created, I can like go change it if I want. And I can see that that was called Create Studios, so I can get to it super quick. Yeah, that looks good to me. That looks like I did it probably right. So let's do a rake db migrate. Remember, I created the migration. If I ran this test again, it's going to be the same error because this migration hadn't been run yet.
Tim, do we want to add timestamps ever, or is that irrelevant?
I would add timestamps in your projects and like in any like, I would add them anywhere but a timed assessment. Timed assessment, it's kind of like, unless, here's what I'll say is like, it might be worth like reading ahead in the user stories and being like, am I gonna need timestamps for anything here? Like, and like just like looking and being like, okay, youngest to oldest, movies show, and being like, I mean, if you need the timestamp of when a resource was created as part of the user stories, then like you can add them right there. But what also I'll say is like you can always add the timestamps column later when you figure out you need it. Like you can always just create a migration for that. Like, oh, add timestamps column, add timestamps to two studios, and then like run that migration. So I'd say for this like, nah, you probably don't need it, and you probably won't need it in an assessment setting. But it's good to add those things for like a production database that you're actually gonna like you might want to like see when people are creating those resources. All right, expected to find text WB in nothing. Okay, that's good. That looks like things are running up here, and I got to line 19 and now I have a failure. So if I go back to my index, yeah, this is where I want to do stuff, and it's going to be like, so this is going to be called at studios, I believe, and I don't want this one, I want this one. Studios dot each do studio, and yeah, let's end that. And then within here, I'm probably going to want like this to be like saying like these will be my H2s if I imagine that these are like, if I imagine like these are going to be bigger than the names of my movies, but I might like want like an H1 that's like all studios at like my website. So I'll do an H2 and say studio dot name. And I think that's all I want to do for now. One thing at a time. Undefined method each for nil class. Okay, that makes sense. I haven't passed my view I haven't passed it anything from my controller. So let's get that there, and I want to get my view back up. Index. All right, yeah, so here, what I want is at studios to equal studio.all. Cool, let's run it. And what do I get here? Undefined method movies for studio ID name. Cool. So now I've gotten past, it looks like I'm to like this final kind of thing where all of my movies need to appear. And I think like just because it says undefined method, I'm gonna say, all right, let's go add that method to studio. And I know this is gonna be a has many based on the spec, which said we have studios which have movies. And then, so that's kind of like my key, like, all right, like we've learned about relationships, so I know we're going to have some relationships here. Cool. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. Uninitialized constant. Where in the studio? What? A movie. Okay, so I don't have that set up. So I think, like, since it's uninitialized constant, not a table error, I'm gonna just kind of go based on that and add a movie model, class movie, and application record. Cool. Let's see what we get here. All right, cool. Undefined table. Relation movies does not exist. Cool. So yeah, now I get my table error where I don't have a movie. So let's create that. Rails G migration, create movies, and what do I want to do here? I need to look. So movies have several actors, and actors can be in several movies. Movies have a title, creation year, and genre. So title, string, creation year. And what do I want to do with this? Maybe a int and then a genre, which is a string, and then yeah, cool. All right, that looks like it ran okay. And then let's look at it. Create movies. Cool. I think that's all right. And then I want to do this references. So here's where I'm going to start looking some stuff up. Let me get this over here. So add foreign key. Yeah, Rails mitigation. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Add a reference column.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the final, I know that it's going to be different than the mid mod and that it's going to be paired or whatever. It's going to be watched. Are we going to be free to look things up like this as we go?
Absolutely. And I don't think it's going to be that way, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be paired. It's going to be like, you're going to do the thing similar to how you've been doing it on these challenges. And then, yeah, and then you'll, and based on where you are, they'll either be like a retake or we'll be like, you're good.
Copy. Thanks.
Yep. Cool. It looks like add foreign key. Interesting. How do I want to do this? Okay, Rails 5. Maybe I just run this migration and then I just like I'll add studios to movies after. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because that just seems fine to me. Okay, let's do that. So I got my migration, and I'll run a different migration to add it. Oops. Okay, didn't like something. Int, it's probably integer, huh? Oops. Yeah. Cool. All right, now I want to get that thing that I copied and pasted and change it. So this is going to be Rails G migration, and it's going to be studio references. And this will be add to movies, and it'll be add studio 2 movies. Let's see if that creates what I think I should get. And I got if I get the syntax right, it'll create it right. But if I get it wrong, it'll create it wrong, and that's okay. Add, yeah, Studio 2 movies. Cool. Add reference to the movies of what a studio and foreign key true. So it looks like that looks to me like I got it right. And I can actually, even before I run this, I can run RSpec and see what my error looks like here. Interesting. Oh, migrations are pending. I can't do this. So this is good. This is a good thing to see actually. So migrations are pending to resolve this, and it gives you like this command to give. But I can, if I want to run them all on my development and my test, then I'll just run a rake db migrate like I have been doing. All right, RSpec. Cool, so that works, but problem is, I don't think that should have worked. Okay, so looks like the way that I set it up, this is okay because these each blocks never run, basically, is what happens here, because I don't have any movies. So these studios don't have movies, so when I get on the movies and then I start this each on that movies array, nothing happens because you can't each over an empty array and it just kind of skips over. So that's why my test passes here. But that shows me that like I didn't make the test very well is like kind of how I think of it. And one thing that I'm kind of like remembering to do now is like, all right, like if I go over to Studio, that has many movies, but I didn't do a movie belongs to Studio. So I'm going to do that and run it again, and maybe I'll get in there. Probably not. I think like it just like got over that. But so now I want to create some movies. So let's say, yeah, we don't even need to do anything. We don't really need to save these movies. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to use the studio one.movies.create. And I'm going to say, what does it have? Title is A, and then a creation year is 2020, and genre is comedy. Cool. Let's see. Now I think that this will probably fail now, right? Because this needs to be studio. Because like now I'm not going to have it on my page. Like this title is not going to be showing up on the page. So let's see. I think I'll do this for just a little bit and see how it goes. Okay. What is it? Expected to find the text. Yeah, so it doesn't have it. So I've got WB and I've got HBO, but I don't have this movie that I created. Cool. So at this point, I'm going to go to my view index. Index.html. And now here, nested here is where I'm going to want to do, yeah, so it'll be studio .movies .each do a movie, and now I want this to be closed. Let's end that, and then this will probably be, I'll put these in like p tags, or like, yeah, p is fine for now, and then display the movie .title. Yeah, that feels all right to me. We'll see how it works. Cool. Cool. So now it's passing. And now I want to make my feature test a little bit better. And I want to add quickly to it some more movies, make sure they all show up. So I'll add a movie there and say this is B. And then I'll do a Command C, Command V. And then this will be Studio 2. Because I have a test for that. And then we'll say that this is, and then cool. And see, I'm not taking a lot of time on my object creation. I want to make sure that it's there and that it's running, and like all of the stuff shows up based on how I've made it. And so far, I'm looking pretty good. That looks to me like, okay, like things are showing up on the page the way that they could be. Now, I could style it. I could go back to my view here and give it like Dan and I were talking about earlier, where I give each of these an ID, like based on, the, what is it? This would be like studio dot ID, right? And then I could use my within. I think this would be like in quotes. Can't remember exactly. So I could do this, but like I don't need to. So I'm not going to do it. Not here. Right? This is for like doing it in the project. What else do I want to do? All right, so that's fine. So now I want to go add my model test to like Christopher's point. But let's take a break real quick. So let's take a break and I'll come back at 37.
Hey, Tim, is there a reason that you did the each in both the view and in your test versus like just doing like expect page to have movie.title?
Yeah, I did it this way just because this feels like less code to write to me. Like it's like all the movies that are attached here, I'm gonna make sure all titles are there, and this is like pretty dynamic to me, where it doesn't matter how many movies are added to a studio, it looks like they're all gonna show up.
And that kind of shortens down your before each do as well. Then now you don't have to actually create movies. It's just associated through the studio.
Well, yeah, the way that I created these, I didn't save their values to anything here. Like I didn't use any extra instance variables because I knew that all the movies I want to see are attached to these studios, and like I know I'm creating them up here, but I don't need to like save them to a variable because I'm not using a variable in my test anywhere else. I'm getting onto movies with my helper method here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, back to it. And I've got a passing feature test. So that feels good, but I created movies and studios in the process of doing that. So now I want to probably just add a model test here to my spec. And so I'm going to say models, and then within models, I'm going to say, let's call this studio spec. And let's say I want to describe, what do I want to describe? What is this going to be? Studio. And then another one we could do like describe relationships maybe. Yeah. And then I want to use my shoulda matchers, so I don't remember the syntax to be honest. So shoulda matchers rails. Yeah, I don't think it's already configured. All right, here we go. There we go. That looks probably close to what I want. It should have many movies. Cool. All right, cool. That feels like enough. So let's run that one. RSpec, spec, models, studio. Ay, 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 ay. I never remember to require Rails helper. You know what's good? You could put this somewhere like I guess you'd have to require something. Never mind. Great, done. Let's move on to the creating the movie spec, which I assume is going to be a lot like my studio spec. Oh God, what did I just do? I truly don't know. Get out of here. Okay. Yeah, so I want to grab my studio spec and I'll copy and paste it here, but I'll change this to movie and this should belong to studio. Cool. Oh, I ran the wrong test. Great, that looks good. And now the one that like I didn't add here is like attributes, right? Like I could describe my attributes and do that. Yeah, let's just do that. So describe attributes. And then I want to look up the should have matched your syntax for that. Let's see if it just has. Oh, should test that an attribute is valid or invalid if set to one or more values. That's what I want, I think. Okay, cool. Yeah, this one. And I don't think we've gone over this, but this is just like how I would like test this because I'm on the movie. And so now it's like, all right, a title is going to be like this, and this is going to be my title. And then this will be 2010 for my, what is this thing called? There's a specific name for it.
Creation year.
Creation year. Yeah, thank you. Creation year, and this would be genre. And I'll just keep that because that can be a string and that's fine. And I can't spell. All right, let's run this thing again and just see if it works. Cool, got those. So now what I will do is like grab this probably and move it over to Studio and do the same thing for Studio. What does Studio have? Name and location. So I can get rid of that, and I'll change this to name and location. And those can be strings, so I think that should be fine. Great. And that's like, this is what I want to like show y'all, like go into the docs is totally fine. Like I didn't need to validate the presence of anything, right? That wasn't like part of anything in the spec where it was like, you gotta have this, you must have this presence, like otherwise it's invalid. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna like make my objects have things that maybe they don't need to have. Yeah, so I went and found this like allow value thing that I'm like, that kind of like makes more sense to me of how I can test like each attribute.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
And whenever I did this first time, I did do the validate the presence of. Is that also a way to test this, or does that hurt anything?
Well, that's kind of like now you're like creating a restriction on your database, and like that is, I don't want to say it's wrong, but I want to say like it's unnecessary based on what the spec asked for. Like it didn't say that a studio has to have a location to be valid, right? It didn't say a movie has to have a genre to be valid. And we haven't hit anywhere in our program that says that either, right? That says like, oh, hey, you got to have this, otherwise we don't want to create it. It's like, it's not like yeah, there's nothing so far that said, hey, if you don't have this, you're not allowed to be created. Cool.
Can I ask a question, Tim?
For sure.
And if there's a better time in this 2 hours to answer it, feel free. But in our migrations, so for like the movie, for example, the create movie migration, let's say I had hypothetically T string for creation year and then decided later that I wanted to go back and change that. What are the steps in doing that? Because that's where I broke my terminal.
Yeah, that's an update column. So I would say like my steps would be like update column, data type, Rails migration, change column data type. Yeah, so here I would say like, okay, yeah, you can create a new migration with Rails G migration, change data type for field name. Or I could probably do like, there's probably something else, but what I can do is I could just call it whatever I wanted here. So I can see that like, this is like a change column here, table name, column name, and then what data type you want it to be. So like if I wanted this to be a string, I could do Rails G migration, update, what's the name of this column? Creation year 2 string. And then I would run this. Cool. Now I can go back to Adam and update. Cool. It didn't know how to create this by default, so it just gave me a change and said, you named this in a way that was not how Rails knows how to do things already and set it up for you under the hood. So now at this point, what I would want to do is follow this. Like, all right, this is going to be a change column, and then it would be like movies, creation year, and then string. And then I would run this. No. Anything you do into your database that you don't want to be done can be changed. Pretty much anything, unless it's like crazy production data and like weird stuff's going on. But in general, in theory, there's a migration you can run to change everything. All right, and if I don't want to, like, I know I'm going to have more migrations after this, right? And I just created this one. So I'm going to go here and find this thing. And all I need to do really is just delete this before I run rakedb migrate again. And I don't have to worry about this running anymore. Once that file's gone, I can run rakedb migrate like later on and not worry about it. Cool. Yeah, I think that's a good question. All right. I don't remember where I am. I think I made some model tests, and now it's probably time to go back to my index spec, grab the rest of my stuff. Yeah, let's start here. And then, yeah, I can delete this. And then I'll go to story 2. And story 2 has a lot of stuff. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Oh, I got to read what I'm going to do. As a user, when I visit a movie's show page. All right, so that at least tells me what file I want to create. And that's going to be up. Nope, I went past it. Okay, features, and now I want to create a new folder called movies. And then I want to create my show spec. Cool. Let's copy and paste the story I'm going to work on. All right, when I visit a movie's show page, I see the movie's title, creation year and genre, and a list of all its actors from youngest to oldest, and I see the average age of all of the movie's actors. Okay, there's a lot of steps, but we're gonna do it. So I brought this over here so I'd have like access to the I can't talk, the relationships. Yeah, so let's do this. So describe as a user. I visit a movie show page. All right, yeah, now it's time for the it sees, yeah. Let's just get all of this in there. Let's do it one at a time. We can break this up into separate it blocks. So this can be one, and then I'll probably go into doing another. Q, so movies. I'm gonna need movies, but let's say I visit a movie's path. So visit, and this will be movies slash, and then I'm gonna need a movie. So let's say movie.id. Okay, and then what else? I see a list. I see the movie's creation year. Okay, expect page to have content. Movie dot title, and then creation year, and genre. Cool. All right, feeling good. That looks like enough to get me started. Yeah, and I know at this point, like I don't have a movie, so let's make one, right? Movie is, and I can just like take this from the index spec. All I need is this, right? Dot create part. And so it'll be like this. And now I'm realizing, I actually probably need a studio to create a movie. So let's just do it the same way that we did it before. We'll do Studio One is here. And then we'll do this is Studio One dot movies dot create. All right, and this time I'm saving it, so I should have access to this created movie. And let's run our test.
I think you have Studio 2.
Yes, you're correct. And I just created Tyler's migration. Dang it. Okay. What spec am I running? Features, movie, show spec. Cool. And I will never remember to require this file. That's not what it's called. Okay. Great. No route matches. Get movies 7. That feels like an error I should expect. So I will go to my routes and I will say resources, movies, only show. Cool. Sorry, that's just bothering me. Okay. Create an initialized constant movies controller. I'll grab that, and then I'll go create it in my controllers over here. Movies controller. And since we already did this, I'm probably just gonna kind of make this get past a certain point. So I'm gonna make application controller. I know that this action is gonna be a show, and then I know that I'm also gonna need a view that corresponds to it. So what is this called? A movies. And then, yeah, show. Okay. All right, so now I should get like a failure, like, sorry, didn't see any of this stuff on the page because the page is blank. Cool, expected to find text A in a blank page. Great, that feels fine to me. Why does that spec up? I want the other spec. Show spec, cool. So none of this stuff is there. So let's get my my actual show file. Yeah, let's split this over here. And then let's make this my show spec. All right, so I need it to have a title, a creation year, and a genre. Cool. So let's say that this is going to be at movie.title. And then, oops. And this will be in a P tag. Nah, this will probably be an H1. And I like giving it like just at least an HTML element to be wrapped in, but yeah. Why are you doing that? Okay. This will be creation year. And this will be the, what is it? Genre. Cool, I'm gonna leave them as H1s because that's not important to me right now. I think I might have a passing test. Oh, nope, I didn't pass. Undefined method title for nil class, so my app movie is nil. I gotta pass that from the controller, right? And movies controller. If I get into show here, this is where I have to do a little work maybe, but I know it's gonna be like at movie equals, I think it's gonna be like movie.find, and then whatever the ID is, I'm gonna pass in here. All right, cool. And I got the, where did I get the params from? Because it's like, what the hell? Like params just came out of nowhere. Like I got it from the route, right? So in my route, I said like, hey, actually you can't see it when I do it like this, but if I do a rake routes -c movies, I can see like this is the pattern and this colon ID is my dynamic value that's going to be coming over in params in the URI. Cool. Questions on that part of it? I haven't heard from y'all in a while, so I'm getting worried.
In the route, what's the like that? It's like dot, column format. What is that? Like, I was curious. When in the rake route, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this part.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've never like thought about it, or
It's not significant.
yeah, I'm not sure. I will. How about this? If you can't find anything on it on the internet, Nico, just tell me, be like, hey, I couldn't find anything on format, and
Okay.
I'll see what I can find.
Sounds good. So, thank you.
Cool. All right, so I'm not done with my spec though, right? Like I still need to do some things. yeah, there's still some stuff in this user story. All right, and this is where it's probably going to get hard. So, what is this? An it block. It lists of all its actors from youngest to oldest. Okay. It lists all of its actors from youngest to oldest. Cool. And I see average age of all the movie's actors. Great. So this looks like some work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this into a before block so that I can use it here. Each, do, and make sure that those are there. Cool. And then here, I'm going to say I should have a list of its actors, oldest to youngest. So I haven't actually created any actors. So I'm going to say, what do I want to do first? I think I want to do at movie dot actors, and then I want to make a couple. So they have a name and an age. Name is T, and then my age is 5. Cool. And then I'll make 2 of them with the age. I want to make this an easy calculation. So 15 would give me an average age of 20. And then I should see youngest to oldest. So I should see T before Z is what I think is going to happen. Cool. So what do I want to do here? I want to visit my show page again. That's for sure. And then I want to expect page dot to have content. And then this is going to be okay. Yeah. So I'm going to iterate on actors here. Actually, maybe not. I think I need a specific element. Yeah, so this is going to be in a list. So this is where I need to like look up some syntax again and say like grab list of elements. No, that's not what I want to say. I want to test order of elements, Rails capybara. I feel like there's a better way to do this. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, maybe I'll do this. Up here before, none of this is what I want. Maybe I'm just gonna go somewhere else. This is cucumber, this is not helpful.
I had the same problem, by the way, Tim.
Yep.
And for what it's worth, I just installed the order gem, orderly gem, or whatever it is that the tutor had recommended.
Nice. That's probably a good idea. Oh, here we go. This page.all. I can get it like this though, I think. That's what it is. Page.all, and then I'll say li. Yeah, okay. This is what I'm gonna do. I like orderly. I think it's just gonna take a little bit longer than what I want. I was trying to remember this all syntax. Yeah, so let's do, what is this? Page.all, page.all. And then how does this look? Yeah, okay. Let's call these LIs, and then I want the first one dot to equal, or to, is it like this? And this will be the first actor. So movie, oh, I should just save it up here. Actor 1.
Tim, where's the LI coming from?
And this will be actor 2. To equal actor 1 dot, what is it? The name maybe? Yeah, I see. Let's see. I list all of its actors from youngest to oldest. Yeah, so that seems like it should be right, I think. And this will be 2, and this will be 1. Okay, and I could have gotten that wrong, but we'll find out when I run the test.
Hey, Tim, real quick, where are you getting the LI from? What does that refer to?
Cool. Undefined method actors.
And
Cool.
only
So I
give
don't
me
have, right? This is not going to work. So I want to create that on movies.
I think he hit the sound when he did the
Movie.
bracket, and
Belongs to a studio.
now it's broken.
Has many actors. See what my error is. Uninitialized constant. Where movie? What actor? All right. Go ahead, Philip.
I don't know if you can hear us,
I can't
but
hear you. Can everyone else hear him or no?
You can't hear us.
Oh God, I can't hear any of you all. Hold on. Okay, talk now.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I think I
Okay.
turned my sound off on accident.
That's all good. I was just wondering what the LI is from. Like, what does that refer to?
That refers to the list element, which I might have called wrong actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want UL actually for unordered list. It's like an HTML element that I thought was called LI, but it might be this instead. Actually, is the one I'm thinking of.
I put one in the chat. Expect page.all li 0 to have content actor 1 name.
Yeah, so it could be an LI, but basically what I'm trying to grab based on the docs, looks like you can grab like any element here with the argument of .all and then like grabbing those. So my plan is to like implement that in the page like via the tags and then grab them all that way. Is that helpful, Philip, or no?
I think so. I guess I'm still unfamiliar because I've done it before without like the LI or the UL.
Yeah.
So I'm just like I've never seen that before.
I think I do want, so here's what I want. I want the LI, which is going to be nested in a UL, because that's like the unordered list. LI element is a list element. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and then if you want to show me how you did it, then I'd be interested in seeing that too. All right, cool. Cool, so what did my error throw? Okay, yeah, no actor. So let's create that model up here in the models. And actor. Cool. Cool, so now I get this real ugly one, right? undefined table, relation actors does not exist. So I need to create an actors, it looks like to me, because this is similarly an undefined table error. So let's do that from the command line. Rails G migration actors, or no, create actors. They have a name and an age. Cool. Let's see how that looks. And I always want to check my migration file before I run it. That's just like plain and simple, something I need to do. All right. Cool. And now if I run it, let's see what I get. I didn't run my migration. Cool. Now I should get some other table error, I think, where like it's like, oh, no actor ID or something like that. Yeah, okay. No movie ID element. When I try to like add actors to movies, it's like, hey, if I'm gonna be able to do this, I need a movie ID. And so at this point, it looks like to me like join table time because of the way that, because of that error and because of what it says here at the top. And this is why I brought this over. It's like we're creating an application to track movies. Like we have studios which have movies. Movies have several actors, and actors can be in several movies. That to me is like, okay, that's my mini to mini, and I got to create the join table to put those two things together. And now that I have both an actors table and a movies table, I think I know how to do that. But before we do, let's take a break. Let's come back at 18.
Thank you, 18.
Thanks, 18. Yeah. Philip, did you have a question? No? Okay, cool. All right, let's get back into it. So like I said, I think it's joins table time. And I think what I want to do is probably run my test just to make sure I know where I'm at. Okay, now here it is. So I don't have a movie ID under slice constant, and then yeah, my movie ID is missing, right? Yeah, unknown attribute movie ID. So it's looking for an attribute by default, but it doesn't exist there. So at this point, I'm going to go back to the command line. I'm going to say Rails G migration create. Oh, not like that. Create actor movies, and then this is going to be a references, I want to say, or maybe it'll be like actor. Oh my lord, references, and then movie references, I want to say. Does that look right or wrong to y'all? I can look it up too. That looks right. All right, Garrett's shaking his head. I have faith.
I have a quick question, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't make any difference, does it? Because it's a join table, which order they're in, right?
Yeah, you could call it movie actors.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's convention on that. It feels like to me like alpha ordering feels better to me of doing like A before M, but like that's just totally could be totally made up in my head. Like there's I'm not sure if there's actually any convention around that. Okay, so let's look at this thing. Create movie actors. I call it actor movies. Yeah, cool. All right, that looks good to me. Let's do a Rick DB migrate. All right. And now I think what I need to do, I can run the test just to see what the error is, because I think it's still not going to be able to find it where it's looking for it. Yeah, so can't write unknown attribute movie ID on my model, which makes sense because I haven't updated my models to be has many throughs. So let's put those together. let's do a actor over here, and then let's say actor has many movies through whatever I called this thing, actor movies.
Tim, could you go back to the error quick and just, sometimes I have a hard time basically deciphering the error and what I need to do. So how did you know?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I actually didn't, like, my error didn't change. So basically, here is my error, and it's the same as it was before I created this table, but I haven't created, there's a couple things I haven't done. I haven't created the model that is called actor movie. I haven't created the relationships correctly on any of my models that I do have. And now I'm going to see, like, by like looking, okay, it's looking for a movie ID. So I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, like I have to go create the relationships, like the has many through relationship through this table that I just made. And then what I'm hoping is the error then points me to, like, hey, you have a table, but you don't have a model. And then from that point, oh, I need to create my model and make sure it belongs to a movie actors. So I kind of like got there without this error being like too helpful, even though I changed something, right? I created this joins table, but I didn't, I didn't, nothing in this error really pointed me there, except like when I see movie ID, I'm like, oh, that exists on the joins table. So I got to go connect these things now.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be a through, and then actor movies. And cool. Let's see if I get a different error. I might not. Yay, cannot find the association actor movies in model movie. Okay, that's what I was hoping would happen. Like, this has many through associations not found. So that to me says, like, all right, I got some work to do. I got to go into my models over here, create actor movie.rb. Let's see, class actor movie, inherits from application record, and it belongs to a movie, and it belongs to an actor. And let's see if I did things right. That looks okay to me. So let's go back to my show spec and see if I can get something different. Cool. I named it actor movies and model movie. Cannot find the association actor movies in model movie. Okay. So at this point, I realized that I've forgotten something, and I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to say mini to mini rails example, and probably just assume that it's like the syntax here. No, I don't want to read an article. I just want to go to the guides. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but the way that you're creating the actor is like super weird to me. I don't really understand that. The way I did it was literally I just like actor one equals actor dot create. And I see that you have it, you're like shoveling it into like a movie.
Yeah. That's just like a slightly different syntax for the spec here. And I might even change this around and like here, like this basically just says like, hey, this actor like this is under the hood, basically like creating the joins table instance and then making
Okay.
sure that those things line up together.
Oh, okay. The way I did that was I just said, like, after I listed, like, created my actors, below that I had a section where I create the join table connections, where I just say like movie actor dot create movie is this movie, actor is this actor. Is that like incorrect?
No, not incorrect. This is just like, I think faster.
Okay.
To me, it's faster.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So I think what I need here is I need a has many actor movies maybe for these beforehand before I can do the through is what it looks like. Could be wrong, but I think that's what's wrong here. Let's see. Yay. And here, like, this is a good example of like, this is a lot of steps. I don't remember them all, and I forgot what I would say is like a step that seems slightly insignificant, right? Like I like forgot to add this line of like, hey, I have many of my joins table before I can go through. And like, yeah, all I will say is you're probably not going to get it right the first time, right? And there's probably going to be a slight step that's like maybe missed in like the relationships when you're doing this many to many. So the more times you do it, the better you're going to feel. And you know, you might have to look at the docs. Like you might have to go to the docs and be like, how does this work again? Oh yeah, okay. That's how it works. That's how the syntax looks. And that's okay. It's always going to be okay to look at the docs. Cool. So at this point, it looks like I'm getting a undefined method to equal for nil class, which means there's no LIs on my page is what it looks like to me. All right. And so in this case, I'm like, all right, now I want to go to back to my show spec and have that be my guide. And probably get rid of these for now because it looks like my relationship's set up. And here's the thing, I'm gonna like have to retroactively go test this relationship, but I can do that pretty easily with shoulda matchers. So I'm gonna stay focused on this. And I'm gonna bring up my show view. I wanna get it next to me, maybe. Okay, cool. So right now I've got this, but what I really need is I need this to be ordered actors, right? So I want at some point now I've got this, but now I want to say like, okay, this is going to be my H2 and it's going to be like actors. And then in here, I'm going to do something like, it's going to be at movie.actors dot order by age, right? Like, so I'm going to do something like this. And then I'm going to do a dot each and then do actor and I want the end. And then I want this to probably be like, I want this to be a, let's make it a p tag, and then it'll be actor dot name. Cool. The formatting's not great, but we'll have to live with it. And now what I'm seeing is like, looks like I'm doing some logic in the view, right? So what I should probably do is make this like a method, right? So I'm just gonna kind of like refactor on the fly here, even though I don't have a test because I don't really have any tests for this. So I'm gonna say, all right, I know that I want this part of it to happen, this order by age. And so I'm gonna say movie dot actors by age. And then I'm going to know that like I'm going to do that ordering there. And it's actually going to point me, the test now will point me to this undefined method, actors by age. Yeah, so that's what it says in the template. Hey, you don't have this method for a movie object. So what should I do? Let's go create that. Let's follow the errors now as best we can. So this is going to be an instance method because I'm on a single movie. I'm not on all movies. I'm on a single movie. Go ahead, Nico.
Quick question on that. Was a conversation the other day about when you have a method like this, like should we test it in the spec models?
Yes.
And how would you go about testing? I know it's maybe like this is not the time, but
I'm going to show you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to show you once the feature test passes. I'm doing all the model tests that I did, and I'm going to do them slightly retroactively. All right, so at this point, it's going to be actors. I already have it. Oh, no, I don't. See, I know I copied it. Actors dot order age, and this is not a thing. Cool. So that to me feels like it could work. It might be out of order, and what I can actually do here is just pry, because I know I'm going to hit this now, and I can see what comes back. And I'm hoping the ordering by default is youngest to oldest, but I don't remember. Cool. So first one is 5, second one is 15. That looks good, I think. I just want to recheck real quick that that's what it says. Lists all of its actors from youngest to oldest. Cool. So that feels good. Now I'm going to exit this all the way, and now take my pry out and run it again. Just see what I get. Cool. Oh yeah, I don't have these as LIs, right? I screwed that up. I didn't make that in my view the way that I said that I was gonna in my test. So let's go to the show and let's do a UL, unordered list, and then I'll put these in here, and then I'll make these P's LIs. Ugh. All right. Yeah, that feels good to me. And this actually probably needs to be outside of the block to work properly. Cool. Yeah. All right. So any questions about what I just did there? Why that was the case? I didn't have any LIs on the page. And I was telling the page hey, find all these LIs. Give me the first one and then that.
I have a quick question about where you put some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I did it was I called movie.actors.by age being the method that I created. I created that I think inside the actor model.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Same difference?
This one's also going to be it's kind of where do you want, this one feels to me, because I'm on the movie show page and because I want all of these, I want specific actors that relate to the movie, that I would create this on the movie model, because then I can scope it to just that movie's actors and then order on age with just that movie's actors. Where if I go on the actor model, then I'm basically taking the average of all actors at that point, right? I'm taking the average of every actor, and that doesn't seem right. I want to scope it to the movie's actors first on the movie object or on the movie model, then go to ordering. But I can see how it can work on the actor way, or if you put it on the actor model, because you just made it a class method on the actor model, Christopher.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you make it a class method, then it works. It doesn't feel as good to me, but that's going to be kind of case by case, honestly. It's not wrong. It's just it's going to be which one makes more sense for this one. And for this one, I would argue movie. I would argue putting it on the movie model makes more sense, because I'm calling it on a movie object here, and I just want all of it to happen right there from that point. But what I'll say is yours isn't wrong. I just like it this way better.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see what the test says. Undefined method to equal. What is this syntax? Is it like that? Yeah, that looks right. If this doesn't work, then we'll just look it up. Yeah. Undefined method 2. Yeah, okay. Capybara to equal.
I think the way that I did it, Tim, was like expect page.all line item index 0 to have content actor1.name.
Yeah, I just want it to be equal though because I'm checking order.
You can do to equal just with the expect in front, right? Do you just need to put all that first part in and expect
Oh,
and then
totally.
parentheses?
Totally, my bad. Yep, thanks for pointing that out. Is this syntax looking correct though? I feel like I changed it around now and I don't know which one's gonna work.
Yeah, I think it's just in the square brackets. Outside of the thing.
Oh God. I like did something with the screen. Sorry, I like screwed up. I think the touch bar made it like screw something up, so my bad. All right. Yeah, I don't want you full screen. Okay, so we think that this is or isn't going to work. Doesn't look like it does. Got capybara node element. Oh yeah, that's right. This is probably going to be, let's pry and see. Cool, so let's see what this returns. Doesn't look like there's anything in there. So it's finding it, but I can't, there's nothing in there. It's interesting. Did I screw something up in the view? Doesn't look like it. Cool, there's 2 of them, that's what I think. I just like missing how to call this on a capybara node element. Dot inspect. Still don't see it. Dot text. Ah, that's what I need. Yay. Exit. Man, my like command line is like screwing up a little bit. All right. What is that? Expected actor got T. Huh. I think what is, oh, I see what's happening. This is not being saved correctly because of this syntax that I have here. So let's say that if I do it that way, then I should be able to say, this will be like at movie dot actors dot find by, and we'll say this should be the age, right, of 5. And then this one should also be the age of 15. So, oops. And then those are going to be objects. So I need the dot names. And we will see, take out the pry. Let's see. Yay, finally. All right, so that took a little while, but I found I had to look at the docs a couple times to see how to get certain things that I wanted out of other things that were there. All right, we got 17 minutes, so I'm gonna add these model tests that now I have to add. So, oh, you know what? I don't have all the average age of all of the movie's actors. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create this as part of my model test, and I'm gonna see if I can get it on the page. Yeah, from that point. So I'm gonna go to movie. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to my movie spec. Cool, so my relationships have changed. So it should have many. And this is gonna be actor movies. And then it should also have many actors. And then there's some syntax here that I don't really remember, but let's just run it and see. Okay, that just works. But there's also some syntax to add the through, I think, like through actor movies. Let's see if that works. Cool. So that's like a little bit more specific, and I would say this is like a much better test than how it was before, because you're testing the join table there too. And then here I would make a new describe, and this will be instance methods. And what I'm going to say is I have movie.create, and I have some movies somewhere else. Let's just grab those. Yeah, let's do it this way. Cool. And so I also need these actors too. So I gotta set up everything with my relationships first. Like I need a studio, then my studio needs to have a movies, then my movie needs some actors. And so once I do this, now if I look back at my spec of like what I'm actually trying to test here, movie, if I look back at my model, so this should order my actors by age. So when I call, I should expect at movie dot actors by age and then probably dot first to be this movie actor. Yeah, so let's pry and just see if there's maybe a better way to test it. All right, so I want to see what this is. Yeah, that's what I expected. Yeah, okay, cool. And so I have this object, so I'll test that the dot age of my first actors by age should be 5, right? So 2 equal 5, and then I can create another test, and I'll change this to be last and this to be 15. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically saying like, all right, these are going to be come back in order. I'm going to grab the first one, test its age, grab the last one, test its age, and that feels pretty good as far as like how far. Like I only have 2, but that feels good about like testing what this method is doing. And the other way to test it, oh gosh, the other way to test it would be like to actually test the object, but then I would need to like save this create method, and I could do that. Like I'll just show y'all. So I could say like actor 1 is this, and then I could say actor 1 gets shoveled in there, and then now instead of testing the age, which I can still test, this isn't gonna like break because of the way that it's set up, but I could set up the expectation for it to actually be the object returned by this method. Actors by age, and then I could say dot 2 equal actor 1. Oh, and sorry, this is going to be dot first. Cool. So I can run this, and I expect this to pass. But you might expect something. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, and it sure doesn't. Okay, expect is not available on an example group. It's only from within. Oh, I'm not in an it. So here, expect is not available on an example group, e.g. describe or context block. So gotta have it within an it. Yeah, that's fine. And this is average. What is this called? Average actors by age. Cool. Let's just indent and run it again.
Do you need to put your actor 1 as with an at or no?
I don't know. These could all be like basically locals here because they're all local. Like I only need these objects in this specific it block. So they could all, I mean, they probably should all be locals, honestly. I just copy and pasted. And then the other thing I could do is like, if I run it to be super specific, I could like say like expect actors by age dot class, and then this like 2 equal a active, I think it's like active record relation. Active record relation. Something like that. We'll see. That might not be the perfect syntax, but it might work. Cool. So it's not, it's an active record association relation. So it's slightly different. So I'll just copy and paste. Yep. All right. So there's a way to test that, but I'm not going to spend any more time on it. This is good enough. Cool. So I've got these instance methods tested. Now I need to check my other models and add the relationship test for them. This is going to be actor. Cool. Let's see if I don't even think I have an actor spec yet. So yeah, let's add that. Yeah. Cool. Actor spec.rb. And this one's going to be pretty similar to movie. So I'm going to like do at least these copy and paste. But this is an actor, and I need an end, and it should allow some values for name and age, and get rid of that. And okay, so it doesn't need to belong to a studio, but it does have many actor movies, and then it has many movies through actor movies. And I think that should probably do it. Oh, wrong test. Cool. So now I've got my relationships in there. They're tested, and I've got my attributes. One more set of relationships to test, and that is actor movie. And let's go to that actor movie spec. And then this is going to be somewhat similar probably to just this part, I think. So this is going to be actor movie. And then I need an end. And then it's going to be, these are both going to be belongs to. And then this is going to be actors. And then this is not going to exist. All right, so now if I run this test, yeah, it's belong to, not belongs to. Oh. What do we got here? Expected actor movie has a belongs to associate, no association called movies. Oh, that's right. This is syntax, right? Like plural versus pluralizing versus singular, and like you got to read the air and then get it to go the way that you want. But yeah, so I added these relationships. This is like, I think that this is easier to me. Like some people might say like, oh, I added the model. I wanna, you know, go and I want to test that model right now and TDD the whole model. Like that's an option. This to me, it feels like to me, like once I get that feature where I want it, then it's like, all right, now I can go like go test all the models that I added there and test the relationships. And I think I've got one more left to do that I'm going to do real quick called average age. Yeah. Okay, let's do an it block. And I see, yeah, the age of all the actors. Great. All of the movie's actors. So I think that this is going to be like expect page 2. I'm going to say have content. And then this is going to be movie dot average age. Average actor age, we'll call it. And then I need to visit that first. And then let's see what I get. Cool, undefined method, average actor age. So I can go create that in my model, movie. Dang, I wanted that to be over here. And I'll say this is going to be average actor age. And so at this point, I'm going to pry and kind of like set this up the way that I think it should go. So I'm on a specific movie. I can tell that by if I run self, right? Okay. This movie has some actors. Great. That gets me my actors array back, I want to say. my Actors Active Record Association collection proxy. I was wrong. And so now at this point, I want to order by, or I want to average the ages, right? Like it's pretty straightforward of what I want to do. Cool. And then I want to do what, like a 2I here? Yeah. Maybe a 2F. Cool. Yeah. And that's the average of 5 and 15 divided by 2, right? So that feels good. I just did my work there. So I'm going to put it back in here and then go back to my show spec.
Real quick, Tim.
Yeah, what's up?
So in the pry, when you do the actor's average age, it does that weird scientific notation thing, but in the view, it actually shows up correctly. So I don't think you need the 2F.
Interesting. That's like a good thing to point out, that there must be some kind of helper happening. Huh. Okay, cool. Let's check it out. I mean, the way I wrote my test, it's like not gonna matter, like, because whatever big decimal or whatever shows up, but I'm gonna care about like how it looks on the page, right? I have to do one more thing, and this will probably, so this is gonna fail because I haven't added this to my view yet. So it's not there, like, right, 10.0 is not there, but look at that, it comes back already as a float without the 2F on it, so that's cool. Good to know. Show.html.erb. I'm gonna add it up here, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be my average actor, no, right? Yeah, no, that's it. Average actor age, yeah. Let's give it a shot again. Cool, and I got through it there. The next thing that I would do is go add a model test to my movie and say like, okay, like now I need to test that I made this like average actor age in there. But I can see through my feature test that it is producing what I expect. Yeah. What questions, any questions on process or like, I don't
Can you
know.
just scroll over quick in your test, please, on the left?
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. And like one of the things that I wanted to do with this is show you all that like I didn't do this previously, and like I didn't know totally, like I had looked at some of y'all's PRs and just like marked how far you got, so I was like somewhat familiar with like what the relationships might look like. But you can see like with the testing, like I had to look stuff up like the whole time, you know what I mean? Like I had to like remember how to do things pretty much the whole time. If I ran into like a place where, you know, there weren't, I wasn't sure what the syntax was, but I knew what I wanted to do, right? Yeah, Nico, go ahead.
Hey, I didn't understand the premise for story 3. You know, like I understand what it means, what they want in that one, and I was wondering if you could explain it at least, so I can do it at least in practice. You know.
Of course. Yeah, so let's go back to our index spec where that story is. So at this point, I would be on a movie's show page. So let's just go back to the show spec, because that's where I would be. So I don't need to like necessarily create a new route yet, but what I would need to have here is I would need to be on this page, and then I would need to see a form. So I would have to go to my my like HTML over here. Come on.
Is that form to create a new actor or to?
No, not quite. So this is the biggest part of this entire prompt right here. Existing actor's name. So if I in this form hit the submit button, and there's an existing actor in that form that already exists in my database, then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that actor to this movie with some similar syntax to this, right? Like whatever comes across in the form as the name, that like then I find that actor. If that actor already exists in the database but isn't attached to this movie, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that relationship there and then redirect back to that specific movie's show page. And then I would expect to see the content of the newly added actor too. Like this actor exists in the database, but it's not attached to this specific movie yet, because that relationship hadn't been created yet. So my job would be like create a form, create an action on that submit form that goes, and probably like what am I doing? I'm like updating this movie resource. So I'd probably like do that. And there's a couple of places I could do that in my I could do that in my movie controller. I could do that in my I could make a nested route. I could make a actor movies controller where I do this update, right? And I could in that case it would be a create, but I have like a little bit of leeway to kind of like do story 3 in a way, in like a couple of different ways, like depending on how I set up my form and what route that I want to route to. Cool.
And that would just be like a patch, or that would be like a post.
Well, it's kind of, if you're going to make it a post, which it definitely could be, then I would say that the best place to post to would be an actor movies controller in the way that I've set it up. So I would create that new route called create, and then route it to the actor movies, route that post to the actor movies create action. And then, because what you need is a movie ID and an actor ID, and then the actor movie model, right? Because you're creating the joins there, and you can create it like that. So, or if you wanted it to be a put, then what I would say is like, you'd probably want to update the movie, because we're on a movie object in the movie show. So that to me makes it feel like, hey, this is an update to a movie. And what am I doing to the movie? I'm adding an actor's relationship to it. Or I should say I'm adding a specific actor's resource based on the many-to-many relationship. All right, I gotta cruise because I've got a meeting that I'm late for, but I'll put this recording up some point either this afternoon or this evening. But thank you all for the questions. Thanks for the engagement. Hope it was helpful.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks.